In this video, I want to walk you through every step that I took to build my brand new company using only AI. And there's a lot of different tools that I used, most of which are free. And I'm going to show you exactly how I use them. So we're launching this new AI consulting company called nextwave.io. Now, the first thing that I had to do in order to start this project was to find the name. Really helpful tool for finding company names, whether you're going to buy from here or not. I don't have an affiliate link or anything. It's called Atom.com. So they actually resell domains. They have really expensive one-word domains, two-word domains, and that's actually where I ended up buying this one from. But I'm going to show you how to find domain ideas like this that are actually available, and it'll do all the brainstorming for you. So I like to actually start here for brainstorming. So I'm going to come into search, and then you can actually just give it some parameters. So I'm going to go to all filters, disrupt, intelligence. This kind of describes the vibe that I'm going for. And then really just taking words that you like. So Revo, tech, hexa, plant, rocket, bravery. This was one of the ones on my list. Growth, strike. These are all different words that could be used to combine and potentially make another domain name. So jot all these words down that you like. And then I'd come into spaceship.com. They actually have an assistant called Alf, and they can actually check for available domain names and help you brainstorm domain names. So I just kind of dump word combinations in here for words that I kind of like to describe the business that I want. And it'll search available domains and give you a lot of different options. And I actually really liked a few of these options and actually bought a couple of them as well. Now, at the end of the day, I did end up going with this one that I found on atom.com, which I really like. Some of the ones I was choosing from, Atomo, Nextwave, Bravery, Growth Strike, I ended up going with Nextwave. I really like it a lot, and I think it describes what I do really well. Now, the next thing you want to do is think about your brand. What kind of language do you want to display? What kind of colors do you want to use? What kind of emotion do you want to invoke? And for that, I found ChatGPT to be a really good brand assistant. So I just kind of initiated a new chat with ChatGPT. Obviously, you can see this thing's really long. I've been chatting with it for a while. But this was kind of my initial prompt. Help me create a brand guide for an enterprise AI automation consulting service called Consulti.ai. This is actually another one that I bought. Give it the main focus, some of the services, and then I asked it to ask me questions to guide me to a brand guide that I love. Show me fonts and colors. And it just gave me a bunch of questions that I then answered for it. And then we just went on this journey to kind of refining the brand guide. It helped design some logos, come up with color palettes, come up with fonts. And I would just tell it what I liked, what I didn't like, and we would continue to refine this brand guide. As you can see, it took a long time. It wasn't all perfect. You kind of have to go back and forth with this thing, giving it feedback, telling it what you like and telling it what you didn't like. Now, what I found is that ChatGPT, although it's a great image generator, doesn't do logos very well. So what I actually do for logos is I tell ChatGPT to come up with concepts for logos. So here you can see it came up with several different concepts for that Consulti logo. And then I told it to come up with actual prompts based on those concepts. So here's a bunch of concepts that it came up with. And then what I did here, since I'm not using ChatGPT for logos, you're going to want to make an account at fal.ai. This will give you access to all of the best generative AI models to come up with images, text to video, image to video, including Google's new Veo 3. This is the best one right now for logos, Ideogram version 3. And you're basically going to take ChatGPT's concepts, put it into this fal model. And as you can see, I can probably see all my old requests in here too. Yeah, these are all the different concepts that I've tried. A lot of these came out really, really good and much, much better than ChatGPT. I think this is the one I ended up liking the most. This looks like an awesome professional logo. And as you can see, now I'm using this to come up with logo ideas for Nextwave. So you just copy and paste these into the generative platform that works the best. Logos, Ideogram version 3. I'm going to give you some more as we go. Next, we're refining the brand guide, asking it to output a full brand guide, including fonts, how to use them, colors, how to use them. And what I learned here is that ChatGPT really doesn't handle logos and text very well. So I'm no longer using ChatGPT for logos and text. Then we decided to change to Nextwave. And this is the logo that came with the domain. I don't hate it, but I wanted to kind of change my colors and get a little bit more out of it. So what I said is that I really like the purple, but I wanted to do it in the old fonts that we picked. So to help come up with a new color palette to complement that purple, or it looks like a blue now that I'm looking at it on this screen. So it came up with some color palette ideas, And of course, it's one thing to just like give me the primary purple accent aqua. I actually want to see these things. So I asked for a mockup, and ChatGPT is now able to use artifacts to actually give me the mockup. So it actually did all of this code. Let's go ahead and run the code to like put these fonts and colors into this artifact for me to actually see what it looks like. I told it I didn't like gradients and to try it again, and it did it again. Ran some code and basically put it into a website for me to see what this would look like with my fonts, with the colors, and I really liked how these turned out. I think I went with option 1. Then I asked it for a brand guide to give me that same rule of fonts and colors. And then we moved on to the next step, which is actually like website design. Now that I know what fonts and colors I want to use, I've got a good brand name. Now let's come up with some website design. So what I really liked is this site, happyrobot.ai. So let's go to that site. I actually wanted to get some ideas for how I wanted my website to look and feel. And I love what they did here with this giant hero image that looks like it's like AI, imaginative, futuristic. And I want something similar for my site. So I gave it that, and with a little bit of a prompt, give me a hero image for the Next Wave website that demonstrates innovation in an imaginative way. And it did. It came up with some concept ideas, and just like before, I had it put it into a prompt for generative image AI models. And here I've got 5 prompts. Let me show you how they turned out. So we went back into fal.ai, and if you don't know what models are the best for what thing, you can usually just come down, and it'll tell you what's the best for what. So let's come into Explore in fal.ai. We got recently added, marquee video models, best avatar models, audio models, best LoRa trainers, best image models. So what we wanted to do here is come up with something imaginative that didn't have my face. That's a whole different project. So here's basically the best models that it says to use. So let's go to this Google image generation. This is Google's highest quality image generation model, and I actually like it the best. So we just take those prompts, put it in here, and let's actually come to my requests. You can see some of the things that I've done in here, testing the prompts. This is just copy and pasting the prompts from Google. And it doesn't get it right every time. Here it put like these different hex codes in there. And this one I think is my favorite. And I actually haven't done what I wanted to do here yet. So I'm going to go ahead and download this image. And let's get rid of these hex codes. So knowing what models to reach for will save you some time, but you'll quickly find your favorite. If I want to remove just one element from an image, I want to use a model called context. So this is an image-to-image generator. I'm going to go ahead and upload that image that I like. I'm going to actually be using this on my website, so you're like watching me actually build this in real time. Remove the hex code text at the top. You just tell it what you want it to do, and it does it, and it's really good. You can give it an extra number of images to make sure it gets it right. I'm going to do it in PNG, and then let's go ahead and get it done. This one, it should have no problem doing. It just basically fills in the context of the image. So even if you tell it to like remove a person, add a bird on his shoulder, it'll just do what you tell it to without changing anything else in the image. So let's give this a second here, and let's come back to our brand guide. And what I found, I've had ChatGPT try and generate images for me as well. It's just not quite as good at any of the image or video generation stuff. What I was actually pleasantly surprised with was how clean their website looked. Their code actually looks really nice. I would use this as a website. So I might see what ChatGPT can do designing me an entire site. Because I've tried some of the other models, and they don't do nearly as well with like site design. So this was really impressive for me. The next thing that I had to do was create the copy for my website. I didn't want to have to write each section from scratch. So I basically gave Claude some examples because I really like how Claude does copywriting. And then I gave it some example websites that I wanted to have sections included. Happy Robot, Madewell AI are ones that I really liked. Told it to include sections from there and then redo it in my branding. Now, Claude, and then of course I go back and forth to try and refine the sections, refine the copy. You don't just want to trust it at its first shot. You actually want to spend the time communicating with it back and forth about like taglines, headlines, so it can see what it's actually all about. Claude, of course, has a artifact where it actually generates websites for you. So it's not so great at design. I really wasn't impressed, but it will do that and it'll show it to you. Now, what has historically been really good at website design is Lovable, which is free. You can go on, sign up. I think this is actually still using its free credits to take the copy from Claude, take the brand guide from ChatGPT, and actually tell Lovable to go and build you the site. And this so far is much better than Claude, somewhat better than ChatGPT, but it's still, I mean, this is the first prompt that I've run on it. I haven't gone back and forth to try and refine it, add elements, fix any broken stuff. So obviously I still have to do all of that, but it's already looking pretty good. And the goal here isn't to have a finished site using Lovable and Claude and ChatGPT. The goal is to get as close as possible and then have me refine the copy, have a designer refine the logo, and then have a WordPress developer actually take all of the design elements and put it into WordPress, probably using something like Elementor. And now checking back into context, there you go. It removed that hex code from the top. It looks perfect. So let's go ahead and use the output. I'm going to download this. The next thing I probably want to do is upscale it. There's no difference between any of the outputs because this was really simple. So now if I want to make this as big as possible, let's just type in upscale. There's a ton of these. And now I don't have to have subscriptions to all these different image generations. All I do is load credits in here, and then it tells me how much it costs. This is 0.004 cents per upscale. So let's go ahead and choose that new image that I downloaded. I'm going to always check the additional settings. There's not much here, and then I'm going to go ahead and run it. And it's going to make it huge so that if I put it on a site like Happy Robot did, it's not going to be pixelated and look nasty. Last thing I want to mention here, even though I paid $2,000 for my domain, you don't necessarily need to do that. You can come into Spaceship and talk to Alf, like I mentioned earlier, and it had some really great options that are still available. So if you're looking for like a business opportunity, you could potentially just come in and like scoop these up. StellarNet.ai, CosmoMint.com, PandaCloud.ai. These are really great professional names that I think you could probably list on Atom.com because you can list your own domains for sale here and make a lot of money doing that. So just something to go ahead and consider. But anyways, that's it. I just kind of wanted to share with you my process using AI while building out a new brand and some new assets. It makes it so much easier and it saves you thousands of dollars going back and forth with designers, going back and forth with website developers. If you can just give them, here's what I want the website to look like, go build this, you're able to do things much faster and much cheaper. So go and play around with these tools. They're addicting, so be careful and use them. And start using this stuff to create your brand assets, to edit your brand assets. And if you thought this was helpful, I've got a free AI automation community on School, AI Automation Insiders, where I'm always dropping knowledge bombs like this. Right now it's currently free. It's not going to be soon. So make sure that you get in here. And I've also got blueprints to copy all of my even most advanced AI automations like this one that scrapes LinkedIn comments and turns them into leads. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here, and you can download all of those templates from the AI Automation Insiders. That's all. I'll see you in the next video.